Hello, my beautiful friends. So somebody asked me to do a video on runestones and why I use them as opposed to tarot, however you pronounce it. So that's what I'm going to do. And I've done this before, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time because I know some people want to get into rune divination. So runestones are a divination tool, and you can use a lot of different things for divination. You can use oracle cards, you can use tarot cards, you can use dice, you can use regular playing cards. There are scrying. There's so many different kinds of divination tools. I don't use a lot of them. I've always resonated with runestones. And I thought about, like, why that is. Like, why I've never been drawn to tarot. Number one, I don't understand it. So, like, it's so complicated. And one of the things I respect about tarot is, like, you know, the Queen of Cups means the Queen of Cups, no matter what deck you're looking at, you know, what artwork is on it. Like, the Queen of Cups is the Queen of Cups, right? The Fool card is the Fool card, no matter what deck you look at. So I respect that about tarot, but I always think about tarot as being like a predicting of the future, and I don't necessarily agree that you can predict the future. So, but that's not judgment against people who use tarot. It's, you know, because I think a lot of people like me look at all divination tools as ways to incorporate thinking about things. You know, they're tools to think about things, right? I don't think anything predicts the future. I don't think anything like that can change the future. So I always think about runestones and tarot cards as, you know, tools that we use to think about the issues that our higher self, our spirit guides and angels are telling us to think about in that moment, in that time. So I have nothing against tarot, but I just don't, it doesn't resonate with me. It's not my tradition. I've always been drawn to the Elder Futhark, which actually is more Germanic than it is Celtic, because the stones don't have artwork on them. The stone is the stone. The Gibo stone gift, that stone is that stone, and I have to, you know, meditate, and I have to think about what that stone means in my life at that time. And so I love the cards that I use. I have a lot of decks of cards. I've sort of filtered them down to like 4 that I really, really like. 1 that I really, 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 really like. But even then, it's not the artwork that I'm drawn to. I'm more drawn to the words on the cards. I love artwork. I love art. But for whatever reason, that isn't what I'm looking for when I'm doing divination. So, I don't know. Runestones have always resonated with me. I use the Elder Futhark. That is, there are different kinds of runes. So there's Elder Futhark, there's Younger Futhark, and there are Witches runes. They're all, you know, they're different rune sets. The Elder Futhark is an alphabet, so it wasn't created to be a divination tool, and I've talked about in the past. There's a fellow, his name is Jackson. He's a little self-important, but he does actually have really, really good information about, like, the history of runes. He doesn't believe in using runes for divination, which is totally his right, but he does a lot of history about it. And so runes have only been used as a divination tool for probably about the last 400 or 500 years. Before that, it was like the alphabet, A, B, C, D. It was what people used to write, and they would use the alphabet to write, right? So it'd be like using, you know, A, B, C, D to do divination. And, you know, you could use the alphabet for divination. You could use our standard alphabet, but you would have to assign meanings to each of the stones. So at some point, somebody decided to attach meanings to the different stones. The Elder Futhark, we don't have the full alphabet. And there are some stones, like Perthro, where we really don't know what it means. You know, like, we think of it as dice cup now, but that is our, like, we assigned a meaning to it. But I like Elder Futhark because I think the meanings are pretty straightforward, and I can interpret them, and I'm not distracted by beautiful art. I'm not distracted by somebody else's interpretation of what this stone might mean. And so that's why I'm drawn more to stones than I am to cards. I use the cards as a supplement because I become friends with my cards, right? And I think Spirit is able to, like, give me more information about the stone, but I always start with the stone, and then sometimes I feel called to pull cards, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's just like, you know, Spirit saying, like, the stone is the stone, think about this. I'm going to put a website below. I keep this website on my phone so that I can read runes anywhere I go, and because sometimes I can't take my books with me. So I have a website that I like that kind of just breaks down things. And when I'm reading to you, if you've watched the channel before, this is the website I'm using, just to give me like a reminder, kind of put it in perspective. There are different reads that you can do. I do one of 3 kinds of reads. I either do a Celtic cross, and I have a very specific way that I do my Celtic cross. You will see in the books there are a million different ways to do the Celtic cross. You do what resonates with you, right? There's no right or wrong way. Don't get buy into people's nonsense. Like, there's no right or wrong way. You do what resonates for you. The one that resonates for me is using the center stone as your present energy. And then if you're looking down to it, to the right of it is your past, what brought you to this energy. If you look under the stone underneath it, in the southern position, is forces you cannot control, things that are happening that are coming that you can't control, but you want to be aware of. To the left is energies that you can control. And then runestones don't predict the future, but in the northern position, here's a potential outcome that could happen. So think about this potential outcome. So that's how I do a Celtic cross. There are different ways. They're all equally valid. You do what resonates with you. So then the 3 Norns, which are just 3 stones, is past, present, and future. And again, you can pull past first, then present, then future. I always pull the future stone first, which is the middle stone. Not the future stone first. What am I talking about? The present I pull first. That's the middle stone. Then I pull what brought me here and where am I headed. That's how I do it. But again, no right or wrong. And then I do a single pull. And I do that a lot. I do a single pull. Just give me 1 rune for me to think about today, 1 rune for me to journal about today, and just pick 1. Now, there is a blank stone. It comes with a lot of rune sets. I keep it with mine because it came with the set, and I don't think you should break up a set. But I don't read the blank rune because that's sort of a new stone that people put into, like, sort of a catch-all, and it means universal. It is not part of the alphabet, just like our alphabet doesn't have a blank letter. But I do keep it in there. I keep with my stones other stones that are meaningful to me. If you've watched the channel, you know I have a Green Man stone. I'm very attracted to the Green Man because of his connection to the earth and, to energy. So that's my Green Man stone. And then I have stones that I picked on the Isle of Iona. I picked this off the shores, and Iona is a small island in the Inner Hebrides of Scotland. It's where I wanted to go for my 50th birthday to play my bagpipes in the graveyard where King Macbeth was buried. He has since been moved, but that's the basis of the Shakespearean play of Macbeth. The Scottish kings were all buried there. They've been moved back to their home territory. But Iona is a thin place, and for Celtic spiritualists, many of us believe that's where the Druid College existed, and that is where St. Columba went and Christianized the Druids peacefully. And then, the Vikings came and wiped everything out. This is also a stone from Iona. This I bought in the gift store. It was important for me to support that local community by buying things that they had made and done. So I have one that I bought and one that I picked. And so that's that. And then my boss went to Iceland over the summer, and he brought me this rock. And I do have a little bit of Viking blood in me. Obviously, I think we all do. And so that's just a reminder, too, of, in many ways, Iceland was not converted to things in the same way that other places were because of how they are geographically. So I think there's a lot to learn, from Icelandic people. So that is what I keep with my runestones. Now, I have like 12 sets of runestones. You can make your own runestones. Don't feel like you have to buy them. You can make them. It's best to make them out of stone, just because they last a little bit longer, but you can also use chips of wood. They were actually, what would happen is they would, when they would read stones, I can't even speak, when they would read the stones, they didn't actually have, sets that they carried around. They would just pull a tree down, and it was a certain kind of tree, and then they would just carve the letters into pieces of wood, and they would cast them right there. They would cast the lots right there. And so, they memorized the alphabet, and they would write it as they did it. And that set of runes was for that particular conversation. So that's kind of interesting. But you don't have to do any of that. You can make them. You can buy them. They're on Etsy. They're on Amazon. You can get them anywhere. You definitely want to put your energy into them. And if you believe in blessing things with smoke, which I do, bless them with smoke to clean their energy. You can spray them with an energy purifier. I'm going to sneeze. You going to sneeze? I don't think I'm going to sneeze. I'm going to sneeze. I'll be right back. This horrible cold has been my life. So you can buy them anywhere. You can make them. You can have temporary sets. You can have permanent sets. I particularly like this set. I got it in Scotland, so it means a lot to me. But I have other sets that I use all the time, and I purify them. I bless them with smoke, and I do that. And I spend a lot of time just holding the bag and rubbing my energy into them. Right. So right now I am going to do a 3 Norns read, just to give you an idea of what a read might look like. And a later video I'll go through. There is a really good series by a guy named, I can't remember. It's a different name, and he is German or from Finland or somewhere. Ritter-Guth, I think is his name. And he did a really great series on each of the runes, and it's really complete information. It's really, really good. I went through each and I took notes, and I have books and stuff and all kinds of stuff. And I liked he's another guy, I like the Jackson guy. Very self-confident. I'm not a huge fan of people with that kind of attitude, but the information was really, really good. So I will, Ritter-Guth Howler or something like that. I'll find it and I'll link it below. His series. And so if you really want to learn a deep dive about each of the runes, that series is excellent. And pack a snack, because he loves to hear himself talk. So but I will say that the information is solid, spot on, good. So regardless of his, love of himself, the information is pretty good. So I will probably do something similar and put it all in one video, because you have, he does one video per rune. So pack a snack. I'll probably do a video coming up talking about all the stones, but in one video. So we're going to do 3 Norns. Remember, we're going to first pick for our present energy, and I just stick my hand in the bag and I feel around, and I try to take my time, and if a stone sticks in my hand, that will be what it tells me, or if it feels just a little bit differently. My stones are not made out of, they're not braille, so I can't feel the marks on them, because then you would avoid things like Hagelas, which means chaos, or Thurizaz, which means thorn. You would avoid those if you could feel them, right? I can't actually feel them because they're not raised in any way. And one is sticking between my fingers, right? It's stuck there. And this is Isa. This is one of the menacing stones. There are 3 menacing stones. Thurizaz, Isa, Hagelas. And Isa means ice. It translates to ice. And it means being stuck, or things are going to be slippery. And if you watch my previous videos, you know that we have some things going on in our family right now, for which Isa is an appropriate stone, and it's a real slippery situation. It could go either way. So then we ask Spirit, what brings me into this energy? What brought us into this energy? And we find a stone. Again, I put my hand in the bag. I kind of just mix them around. And one of them will stick in my thumb, or this one stuck in my pinky. And this is Dice Cap. This is Perthra. I just talked about this. This is the one that we know the least about. Can mean chance. It can mean gambling. It can mean all kinds of, it's sort of unknown, right? But in this particular case, for me, this is exactly what led to Isa. Holy Spirit's fantastic. Because somebody took a chance they shouldn't have taken, and that has led to the situation we are at. So I don't believe that runestones predict the future. I think what comes in the future position is just a potential outcome for that Spirit is asking me to consider. And if I want to get there or if I don't want to get there, what do I have to do? Because we have free will. So, for example, like you might get a Hagalaz stone. So if you don't want chaos to happen, you know, alter your course so that chaos doesn't happen. You know, but you have free will all the time. I'm going to put the hand back in the bag. We have gift. Well, that brings hope, right? Gibo is my favorite stone. Gibo means gift. And that brings me hope for what this situation is, because definitely somebody took a chance. They shouldn't have taken that chance, because it's really causing a lot of icy situations. But in the end, it will be a gift. And if the gift is just that this person stops this behavior, that is a gift in itself. So I read the stones, and then I pause, and I think about them. And usually when I'm doing a reading on here, I will pause now, and I will think about the stones, and I will ask Spirit, like, what is it that you want me to know? And sometimes it comes right to me. Sometimes it doesn't come right to me. Sometimes I feel like the stones just aren't resonating at all, so the message isn't for me. It's for somebody who's watching. I definitely think that this is a reading where the stones are meant for me. I'm interested in this gift at the end. You know, I'm interested in what that means. So I'm going to pause now and just think about them, and then I'm going to bring over the 4-card decks that I use right now so that you can see. I don't like using all the cards at the same time, I think, because I think it gets to be too much, and then the messages get messed up in my head. And it goes back to, like, the stones themselves are really what I'm taking the meaning from. I don't like to get distracted by the cards, but we'll pull some just to see what Spirit wants to add to it. So I have a lot of decks, and I think spiritual people kind of go through phases, like, it's all about the crystals, and it's all about the decks. So I went through that phase of decks. So I have a lot, and I have ones that, are gorgeous. Like, they're gorgeous, but they don't resonate with me. My number one box, the one that has always resonated with me, and the one that I feel like Spirit really can communicate well with me for whatever reason, is the Celtic Spirit Oracle. And this is sort of my go-to. This is my oldest deck. This is the deck that I understand it the most, which I don't read the book. I do sometimes, every once in a while I'll read the book. But I don't know, for whatever reason, this deck is sort of my deck. And if I can't use any of the other decks, this is the deck that I use. And so I shuffle 3 times, and I just ask Spirit. This one popped out, so let's see. Ancestors, Gateway, and Sacred. I think it just popped out of my hand, but let's see. So I shuffle 3 times, and then I knock 3 times, and I blow my energy in. And these don't replace the stones themselves. I'm asking Spirit to add meaning to this particular read, and whatever comes out, comes out. Sometimes nothing comes out in the 3 passes. And if nothing comes out, that just means that the Spirit doesn't want to use this deck to talk to me. And as I've grown in my practice, I've learned to trust Spirit, because sometimes things are going really, really, really well. And then I'll get the Hagalaz stone, and I'll be like, what? Everything's going great. That happened last week. Then we went to Arizona, and the trip down was, I got the Hagalaz stone. The trip down was, like we had been rerouted and all this stuff. And then, and on the way home, that was the scariest air flight I've ever had. And I've traveled a lot in my career. It was chaos. Like, it was absolute chaos. And I thought, I need to trust Spirit more. Spirit told me that was going to happen. I knocked 3 times, blow energy in, and I do 3 passes, and whatever comes out. Now, sometimes if I'm not being mindful, I'll do another pass, and I'll tell Spirit that, because I wasn't being mindful on a pass, but I'm going to pay attention. So pass 1. Pass 2. Just asking Spirit if anything, Spirit wants to say anything about these particular stones. And pass 3. Sometimes a lot of cards come out. Sometimes a lot of cards don't come out. All right. This is Portal. Change, Gateway, New Beginning. I don't know yet what that means in relationship to these cards. I have to think about that. So then I just set these cards to the side. There was just one card that came out. My second favorite deck is called Earth Wisdom. Another Celtic deck. And I do the same thing. Three shuffles, 3 knocks, blow air, three passes. I have to think about what the change comes out. You know, the change, gateway, new beginning, gifts, you know, it's a new beginning. Maybe it's a new beginning for this person who this happened to. It's an opportunity for that person to have a new beginning. It's a new doorway for that person. All right, pass 1. Anything to go with these stones, Spirit? That's 2. Now, sometimes the cards will be like this, where one is kind of like really sticking out. And so, even though it didn't pop out, I will still pull it because it was coming out. And it says Shadow Treasures. So Shadow Treasures are about the things that are in us, like our shadow work, are things that we need to work on. But sometimes things that are in our shadow are actually gifts that we haven't developed yet, passions or approaches or something like that. So it's just a reminder to look in yourself and you know, not all your shadows are bad things. They're, you know, sometimes, you know, like I put up with no nonsense, right? And I was on this committee. I think I talked about this in my previous video, where they voted me off the board because I told them that I was going to be absolutely transparent and I was going to demand that they be transparent, especially about the budget. And they didn't like that, so they voted me off. It's okay. I mean, I am not going to back down from being an ethical person. And so that's a shadow treasure, right? You know, being straight up and to the point doesn't resonate with some people. They want you to kiss their butts. I'm not going to do that when, you know, when money and, you know, people's hard-earned money is involved. So, all right, so that's Shadow Treasures. Now, the 2 newer decks that I'm using that right now have really, really resonated. The Shadow of Light came in one of my boxes. And for whatever reason, I'm not called the artwork I don't like really at all. But again, I don't really care about artwork. So, I mean, I like artwork, but I'm not really drawn to artwork. I'm drawn to words. And I do like the words that are on these cards. So for now, I'm using these cards. I don't know that I always will, but for right now, I feel like Spirit is able to communicate pretty effectively with me and these cards. So right now, I'm using them. Usually, I'll add another deck, and it usually has a shelf life of about 1 week. And then I'm like, I just like my 2 other decks. This one has stayed with me for a while, so that means something. So let's do 3 passes. Anything you want to add, Spirit? And everybody has different ways that they pick their cards, right? You can pick from the top. You can do a spread. My one friend does a spread and takes the cut. You know, whatever you do. I do the popping cards thing. Clearly, Spirit has much to say. The Shadows of the Light. All right. I try to read them as they pop out together. This popped out on its own. Resonance, which is joy. Transformation, shedding skins. Unity, the sacred paradox. Intimacy, the lovers. Who's telling me there's going to be lovers in my life? I have a husband. Participation, solidarity. So definitely we need solidarity. Well, lovers, intimacy, I mean, this probably is definitely my husband, and this whole thing that's going on is his family. It's not mine. But like I said in my previous video, I'm sort of the person that helps them out. Unity, transformation, shedding skin. I feel like this kind of is exactly what the stones say. Like, in the end, there's going to be joy. It's going to be rough. It's going to be slippery, slidey, but in the end, we have to stick together. We have to shed the skin. We have to stand together with the person who did the thing. Doesn't mean we have to condone what the person did, because I will never condone what that person did. But we'll stick together. And in the end, there's going to be some kind of joy. Oh, the other one, that strength, was the other card that came out. We just have to be strong. We have to be strong for that person. We have to be strong together. And we have to just make sure that we don't lose sight of truth and justice. Those are important things. So, so far, I think the messages are really, really consistent. Be strong. I need to keep my wits about me, because something happened yesterday, and I was really ticked off because my husband got upset with me. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have to help your family. I don't have to do this. I don't have to go through this nonsense. This isn't my people. My people didn't do this. But he was just being upset because he's upset. Because he's really, truly, upset about what happened. And he's really ashamed and hurt. And he doesn't want the world to know. But it's not his circus either. Not his monkeys. But he's a good boy. So, the last deck I have is this Celtic Magic that I just got when I was in Arizona. So far, I'm liking it. We'll see how that goes, because like I said, I'll work with some cards and then I'll be like, It's funny, the cards I think are really going to resonate with me, they don't. I have these beautiful, beautiful Druid cards. Gorgeous. They don't resonate with me. I try to get them to resonate with me, but they don't. And you can't force it. Spirit's going to use whatever tool Spirit wants to work with you. Spirit picks it. We don't really get to pick it. Okay, 3 passes. Oh, it fell on the floor. That one must have been important. I'll be right back. So, the one that fell on the floor is Celtic Harp. And the one thing I like the cards. I feel like the book is very meaningful, but I have to read the book, and I'm not a huge fan of reading the books. But I will read it. So these came out together. Spinning Wheel, Quick, and the Kate Sith. These came out together. I don't know what those mean. This came out alone. This is the Claymore. These came out together. Silver Arrow and Quest. And then this came out, which is the Druid. So I am going to go and look all this stuff up. I'm not going to make you watch me do all that. I will be right back. So because there were so many, I'm going to do them as they go. So the Celtic Harp is the one I got the other day that says the harp is better than the bagpipes. I'm actually playing pipes in a few hours. I keep checking the time because I have to go get dressed. I'm playing at a thing called 12th Night. But what the card is actually about is either, music is a really important part of your life, which obviously it is in my life, but I don't think that's part of the reading. It's really about harmony and nationalism in Ireland and, no. When the Celtic Harp is present in a reading, it is heralding a time of peace and harmony. So I think you know, just a reminder from Spirit, like, that we get through the ice by being careful and not letting what happened yesterday when I got, because I was like, fine, I'm not going to help you. Like, I'm not going to help your family. Like, if you're going to be like this, I'm not going to get beat up. You know, and it's just a reminder for Spirit to be gentle, you know, to recognize that this is really hard for my husband, and, you know, not to go in with my war pipes, you know, be gentle and be forgiving and be peaceful. All right. Where's the next one? Where's the next group? Oh, it's a group of 3. I'll be right back. So, this section of cards was interesting. So the weaver, the spinning wheel, is about weaving your outcome, weaving your life, and you know, designing your life. And then I don't know how to say this, the kiak, is this cup. I have actually one of these here, and this is about responsibilities and taking care of things that you have promised to do, your responsibilities if there's a legal thing going on. Spirit's amazing. And then the cat is all about, it could go either way. Like, it's unknown. So, how appropriate. You know, decisions were made. Somebody wove decisions. You know, they needed to pay attention to responsibilities and the law. They didn't. And it's unsure what the outcome is going to be. It's exactly what's going on in this situation. So let me go and look and see. Well, this one I'll do in front of you. This is Claymore. And there's like a whole little ditty about it. And the whole ditties are interesting, but I won't read them. There's like a place where it says, if you pull this, the Claymore is a weapon of war, and this indicates that you should prepare yourself for an upcoming battle. And we will be with the it serves as a warning that something is about to kick off and you need to protect your interests. So that's exactly what's going on in our situation. Then we have the Silver Arrow combined with a quest. So Silver Arrow is success and high achievement. There will be setbacks and obstacles along the way, but you should not let them stop you from achieving your dreams. There may be times when you feel like giving up, but rest assured that this is just part of the process. And then quest is when you are shown the quest card, it means you've undertaken a very difficult task. This is something that will require all of your patience, skill, courage, and integrity. It will consume you if you let it. You will be tested. You must pace yourself, for this quest will take a long time to complete. It's one of those things where if you had known how much work was involved or how difficult it was going to be, you might not have agreed to do it. But take heart, because although you will find it frustrating at times, the goal is achievable and you'll find the result is worthwhile. I mean, honestly, like, Spirit really does use these cards to talk to me, because that is what is going on in the situation that we're dealing with. And then the last is Druid, which is 16, and if you watch the channel, you know that I mostly align with Druidic philosophy. Magic, empowerment, enchantment. When the Druid card comes up in a spread, he is encouraging you to embrace your own magic and empower yourself with spellcraft. This card is asking you to step into your power and use it for the good of yourself and others. There's nothing wrong with casting spells to get ahead or bring about a golden opportunity. You are not taking anything away from anyone else. The world is a place of abundance, and there's enough success to go around. But you do have to stake your claim in your fair share. Use magic wisely. Feel free to cast for a bright and happy future, for the success of your goals, just as the Druids would have done. Magic is a gift. Use it well. And I think you know that I don't perform magic, but I will do some intention rituals so that maybe the situation will have the best outcome it can have, right? The outcome is not going to be great, no matter what, but there are better outcomes than others, and there's one outcome that we're hoping doesn't happen, and other outcomes we would like to happen, I think, more so, but in none of the outcomes is it going to be great. So what's going on with my necklaces? They're all over the place, and they're stuck. I have to go fix that. Anyway, I am wishing you all the best of light and love. Be well. Take care. I hope this helped introduce you to runes and how they're used, And if you have any questions, post them below. I'm going to post a bunch of links in the description of where you can learn more about runes, and here on YouTube and also on the web. Be well. Take care. Bye-bye.